Doesn't that feel good? I'm here, I'm hosting, and we've actually won a game. I'll tell you what, anything could happen. What a mad night of football. Ricky's on the Moretti. It's unbelievable. I mean, Tottenham win a game. Tottenham progress through to the semi-final of the Europa League. What a mental night of football. Manchester United coming down from 2 goals down and going through. And Bodo Glimt will be our opponents in the semi-final, having won a thrilling penalty shootout against Lazio. Unbelievable night of football all round, and Tottenham progress to the next round because we won. We beat Frankfurt. Can you believe it? Thanks to a Dominic Solanke penalty in the 43rd minute. Here's some match stats. We got Frankfurt 60.6% possession to Tottenham's 39.4%. That was actually surprising to me, but you know, it goes to show we can win dirty, so to speak. We don't have to have that possession. It don't mean anything. Shots 14 to Spurs, 12 shots on target, 5 for Frankfurt, 3 for Tottenham. Touches inside the box, Frankfurt 37, Tottenham 22. Keeper saves, 2 to Frankfurt, 5 for Spurs. 7 fouls for Frankfurt, 9 for Spurs, and 8 corners to Frankfurt, and 7 to Spurs. With me tonight, I should say, we're live on YouTube, X, Twitch, and Facebook. If you want to get involved, get down in the comments and put your comments in. Let us know how you're feeling. Happy Spurs fans all around the world, and I've got 3 of them with me tonight. I've got Ricky J. Norwood back with us. How are you, Rick?
I am buzzing. About time. Now, listen, I don't know if you can hear me properly. It feels like I'm lagging as well. So if I am, let me know. But just to let you know, oh my gosh, did we not all need that tonight? Everybody, every single player, the manager, the staff, you could see it in their faces at the end of it. We needed a moment to show up, to stand up, and to show everybody what we're about. We needed a moment to remind everybody what Angeball is for a 90-minute game. Do you know what I mean? And how it can work. We need to show everybody that we can be solid once our players are back, ready, fit, and fighting. And for the time that we needed it, for the first time in a very long time, think about it. How many times have we needed them to get over the line? And they haven't done it. Tonight, we needed them to get over the line, away from home, against that crowd. They turned up, they showed up, they controlled it. They got a 1-0 win, and I am overjoyed. I am ecstatic that this season can continue and that we are still on the road to a trophy and on the road to glory. Come on, you Spurs. Can't wait to have it with the beautiful 2 gentlemen in Carl and Dustin and yourself, Craig. Listen, mate, let's have it. Let's go. Come on.
Love it, Rick. Love it. Do you know what? Even the fly buzzing around in here is not going to annoy me tonight, because things like that normally really annoy me, and it's buzzing around my head. Back with us, we've got Carl Jones back with us. Of course, he's the host of When Football Began Again podcast. So go and give that a listen. Carl, how are you?
I am very, very well after seeing that. You know, tonight. Coming into it with relatively low expectations. I mean, those results you just mentioned, Craig, Spurs in a way, we've won through boring. While the drama's gone on elsewhere in the other games, we have got the job done professionally. We looked solid. We have shown up and kept a clean sheet, and it didn't even look that troubled for large parts. Okay, maybe 1 or 2 moments. We'll probably come to that, but really, really, really good. Really pleased to be back on the show. And yeah, it's been a little while since I've been on, and I've probably missed a few months where it's been, probably more difficult to be joyful about Spurs. Oh, there you go. That's that first time that fly's annoyed you, Craig. So it doesn't last forever, does it? That's the thing. You've got to remember that as a Spurs fan, it only lasts forever. It only lasts for so long. But yeah, very, very happy to be back on with you guys, and yeah, semi-finals. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. And last but not least, we got Dustin all the way from Singapore back with us. Dustin, how are you?
All right. It's 6 a.m. here, so I was expecting to be tired and possibly despondent about a bad result. But it's great to be up here and buzzing. I'm probably not going to get any sleep now.
Nice. Well, honestly, that's an early start for you, isn't it, or a late one, whatever way you want to look at it. Well, match facts and stats. Eintracht Frankfurt v Tottenham. Obviously, there was the quarter-final second leg tonight. Before tonight, Eintracht Frankfurt have only won one of their 5 meetings with Spurs in European competition, drawn 2 and lost 2. However, that lone victory came in the only occasion in which they hosted them in a knockout stage match, beating them 2-1 in the Cup Winners' Cup quarter-final in 1981-82. I'm just about old enough to remember that. Tottenham had lost 6 of their last 7 knockout stage games away to German opponents in Europe before this evening, winning 1, while failing to score in 4 of their last 5 matches. They lost 3-0 in the most recent of these, being eliminated by RB Leipzig in the last 16 of the Champions League in 2019-20. Of course, I think we all remember that one. Tottenham had only progressed from one of their previous 10 knockout stage ties in European competition after failing to win the first leg at home, progressing past Ajax, of course, in the UEFA Champions League semi-finals in 2018-19. Lost 0-1 in the first leg before winning on away goals with that unbelievable Lucas Moura hat-trick, and that's what we were looking for tonight. That sort of rallying performance, wasn't it? And we did get it. Obviously not 3 goals, but we went through, even though it was a penalty. It's fine. I'll take it. We'll all take it. Eintracht Frankfurt were looking to reach a third UEFA Europa League semi-final, having previously done so in 2018-19 and 2021-22. The only team to have currently qualified for more than 3 in the competition is Seville, who have done so 5 times. Manchester United are currently on 3 ahead of their second leg versus Lyon, which of course we now know they've qualified for the semi-final, and we'll come on to that a bit later. Spurs were aiming to qualify for a second major European semi-final within the last 7 seasons, obviously because we was in the semi-final against Ajax. Tottenham have only kept 1 clean sheet in their last 19 away matches, which is pretty key. I thought that was going to be our downfall tonight, conceding goals, but of course we kept that clean sheet. And of course, I can't pronounce his name. Ekitike. Rick, you struggled with this name last time, didn't you? You had to help me out pronouncing that name. We kept him fairly quiet tonight, but he had been directly involved in 7 goals in the Europa League this season, 4 goals and 3 assists. Unbelievable performance, wasn't it, Rick? I mean, let's get your thoughts on the whole game. Let's hear what you thought about how tonight's game went, Rick. I think Rick's possibly lagging. You're well behind, Rick, I think. But give us your thoughts on the game.
You know what, bro? Can you hear me?
Yep, you're all good.
Oh, mate. Can you hear me now?
I think you're a bit behind. If you want to come out and come back in, Rick.
Oh, no.
And then...
Yeah,
then
okay.
Well,
I'll go for it, and then we'll see what happens. All right, let me do that.
Okay. All right. I'll come to you, Carl. What were your thoughts on the game tonight?
Well, having been to the first leg last week and then having endured Wolves on Sunday, the truth of the matter was I wasn't feeling particularly confident coming into the game. I feel like Wolves, I don't recall being in an away end as despondent as that at Wolves when we went 1-0 down again so early. And it really was, it was just bleak. And, I think the irony that there we were tonight playing a team with Indeed all over their shirts for a game that surely was important to save Ange's job, and they turned up, they showed up. It was a really mature performance. I thought we were really controlled in the first half. We controlled the game in large parts, didn't give too much away. And then once the second half, I think we had to ride our luck a little bit. They had spells. Obviously, they're going to have spells. And then we actually saw, all the talk about Ange and the way that he wants to play football and the way that Ange wants to run matches. We were bringing defenders on. We were going 5 at the back towards the end. So there has, I think, been this evolution of the way Ange plays football and what he's willing to give up and what he's willing to sacrifice. Because let's face it, it hasn't been working this season for large parts. And I think the players and the manager need to be applauded for that. You know, the objective this season now is to win the Europa League. Quite frankly, I don't think it matters whether we finish 17th or 12th. I don't really think, apart from that bit of pride, I don't think it matters. Now, I say that as a match-going fan who was stood in the away end at Wolves and, you know, just thinking, surely we are better than this, even if we're not putting out a full-strength team. So, yeah, to come into tonight, not feeling confident, feeling like the season could quite easily be over. Very, very, very happy. And, you know, the season rolls on now into May. Bodo Glimt, a trip to the Arctic Circle. You know, what a game that's going to be, an artificial pitch to go play on. But we're one step now away from Bilbao and what will completely save the season. So yeah, as ever, came up on my Facebook memories today, 6 years ago, the Man City game. And I think I put on Facebook that I'm in an abusive relationship with Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. I'm still in that relationship, and it is just madness. But you know, here we are, semi-finalists.
Rick, are you back with us? Ricky? No. Oh, Dustin, what were your thoughts on that?
I hope so. Am I back?
Oh, yeah, you're a bit behind,
no,
but yeah,
on.
go on, Rick.
No.
Go on, Rick. Oh, he's gone. Right, Dustin, give us your thoughts. What did you make of the game?
When I was looking at the game, I was initially quite concerned because I think that the Frankfurt crowd really get behind the team. And what I noted in the home game was how loud they were and how they're allowed to bring in drums. And honestly, I don't understand why we have more restrictions on the home fans than they do, and they can literally outsing us in our stadium because they have the drums, they can coordinate and stuff like that. So I was really concerned about what the atmosphere would do, but I think that the atmosphere actually got to them as the home side. It felt like they felt the pressure of the fans wanting them to attack and to finish the tie. So I think that we weathered the storm initially, but after that, once we weathered the storm, it felt like the pressure was getting to Frankfurt, and we had a bit more composure. Van der Ven looks like he's coming back to full fitness with, you know, the last minute interception. I think it was in the 15th minute with that 1-on-1. So I think that we were in a better position because we had players back that were more fit, and we also were in a position to put pressure on Frankfurt and make them worry a bit more, and we played significantly better in this match.
Absolutely. Rick, are you with us now? No. I don't. Yeah. There's a message from Chris here. Positive. We were brilliant. Fully deserved. That absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Let's go to the lineup. Let's go through the lineup, because I actually thought the lineup was quite encouraging. I thought it was probably our strongest team. You could make an argument for Spence, possibly an argument for Odebear, but Cole, let's come to you. What did you make of it when this lineup came out before the game?
Yeah, I mean, exactly as you say, possibly Spence. I suppose he had a bit of a torrid Sunday, so I thought Doggy did really well. As the team came out, I felt that Sonny was always going to be a huge miss in a big game like this. But you know, I thought he had a really good game. I thought probably his best game actually he's probably had in a Spurs shirt. He was, you know, really positive, doing what you want from your left winger, attacking his fullback and getting the ball in. And so yeah, I think it's just about the team that you would expect. I think it's probably as close without Kulusevski and Son to being just about our full strength side. And just seeing Mickey back in that back line, obviously absolutely huge for us, because I think he just calms Romero down so much as well. Romero's a much better defender when he's playing alongside Mickey. So yeah, the team that I would kind of anticipate and as probably with the exception of Kulusevski and Son, the strongest team probably we've got available.
Ricky, are you back with us now? What were your thoughts on the game, Rick? I'm not quite sure what's happening because Ricky's very behind everybody.
I think on Ricky's stream, Solanke's just put the penalty away. I think that's what's happened.
Go on, Rick. You're a bit behind, but go on.
I hope you can hear me, but
you can.
When I'm listening to you guys, you're lagging all over the place. I don't know what's happening. So, oh no. Am I not coming through at all?
You're just you probably won't hear this for about a minute, but you're very behind, Rick. Go on. Oh, he's gone again.
It might be quicker if I just nip round to Ricky's house, pick him up, and bring him in. If he says something, if you ask him a question, we'll get it sorted by then.
It could be the headphones. Who knows? Technology is wonderful, but look, we won. It doesn't matter. Dustin, what did you make of the lineup tonight? Was there any surprises in there for you, or people that you wanted to see in there, or was that pretty much what you expected? I think you're on mute, Dustin.
I think after we found out that Son was not traveling at all, it's pretty much what you would expect. I think Spence would be in with a shout because in the absence of Udogie and Toro, when we were rotating, when Udogie was injured, Spence was pretty much our best player for a month and a half or so, but he didn't do that well in the previous game, so justifiably rotating him out. I think Kulu in the start might have been something that would have been a bit of a stretch considering that he's just back from injury. So I think if you look at conservatively managing Kulu's minutes, that lineup is pretty much what you'd expect.
Were you surprised, Dustin, that Son didn't travel with the squad just for a bit of moral support, or what? Were you not surprised he stayed just a bit of recuperation?
So one of the things that I've heard recently from like physios basically is that air travel is one of those things that really screws up your body just because you're in the tube, it's pressurized, and it's just not really good for muscle recovery. Like air travel is basically you're not doing very much, but you're definitely not getting proper recovery. And I think it's one of those things where if he can get rest, because we really need to manage his minutes as it is, there is not significant benefit to bring him on because he's a captain that leads on the pitch, and if he's not playing, he's not rah-rahing them in the dressing room. He's not a vocal kind of captain. He's a captain that leads on the pitch, and if he's not on the pitch, then let him get his rest so that he gets refreshed and he can take over when he is recovered.
Yeah, I've heard that. Obviously, he does do a lot of air travel. Obviously, when he goes back to Korea and the games he plays for his national team, so he's going to be feeling that. And like you say, he's not old by any stretch, but he's not getting any younger, so to speak, is he? So it's probably worthwhile. Just a few people on X and that I read, if social media is any good recommendation place that they thought Son should be out there with the team. It kind of does make sense. And to be fair, we didn't need him tonight, actually, thankfully. So we didn't miss him as such. So Carl, I was just asking Dustin, did you find it strange that Son didn't travel with the team? Have you got any thoughts on that? Or
I mean, I taking into consideration what Dustin was just saying about travelling for the sake of travelling, I suppose, he is our club captain. So almost, I suppose, that moral support. But I suppose at the same time, yeah, he's getting to a point now where we need to manage his minutes, we need to manage his fitness, and I think it's probably, you never quite know as well what's going on behind the scenes. I think it's been psychologically probably quite a tough season for Son. So whether that decision was just made to rest him, I guess, and leave him at home again. The season's about the Europa League now, so we've got a couple of weeks until the semi-finals. So again, we might only see Son in bit parts until then to get him back fit. I do notice, as usual, there's a little bit of kind of, I suppose, debate over whether Son should be starting and whether Tell's better. I think just to make it really clear, I think when you go into big games, you've got a player like Son who is a generational player. You want him on the bench at least to come off. But I also agree in terms of what people are saying in terms of Tell really earned his place tonight, and that's what we want. That's what Tell's been brought in to do as a very young player at completely the opposite end of his career. We want to see Tell putting that pressure on Sonny as well. But yeah, going back to Sonny, I just think it's probably as much as anything about just managing his minutes, managing his body. I still think there is a hell of a lot that Son will contribute and can contribute in the final stage of this season as we head into a major tournament semi-final. So yeah, not massively surprised, to be honest.
I think King Oldham makes a good point here. I wasn't keeping up with all of the chat, but he said without a tactical shift, we would not have won that game. Credit to Ange for recognising that. I think I'd just like to pay kudos to Ange Postecoglou, because everybody, including myself, has been quick to jump on his back when things are not going particularly well. But I thought everything about tonight that he did, I thought the team selection and the subs were absolutely spot on tonight. It's easy to say that, of course, when you win, but I just thought everything looked better tonight. There were certain things, and Dustin, come to you on this, there were certain things during the game that I thought we just did differently. We went long a lot of the time, which was really good to see. We were just getting the ball up the pitch, getting it away from our goal. And I thought that worked well. Did you notice that, Dustin? Did you notice the change that, during the game, slightly different tweaks?
Yeah, I did notice that. I think that we took note of how Frankfurt were impressing us. And it's one of those things where we're up against a team that is decent at pressing, fairly pacey, gets in behind the spaces, is fairly fast on the counter attack as well. We've had this habit basically of conceding almost every time we give up possession in our own half. So I think that it's prudent when you're in the latter stages of a knockout competition to long term, you want to fix it by being better at playing out from the back, but you just want to win the game and get to the final, and then you can work on that later. Because I think that we've had a lot of issues playing out from the back in our last few games, and mixing it up a bit and being slightly unpredictable makes it harder for teams to press you. The problem with always playing it out from the back is that if teams are aware of that and they're aware that you will almost never play a ball over the top, it just means that they have less things to worry about and they press you harder. And that's why you see teams like City, they mix it up. They have Edison, lobbing long balls over once in a while just to put the fear of people into pressing them too hard. So I think that being a bit more unpredictable and being less one note in how we build up matters.
Ricky, are you back with us now?
Am I back?
You are back. You're back.
My
Brilliant.
gosh.
Rebooting the Wi-Fi always works. Turn it off, turn it back on again. Love it. Love it.
That was my solution to everything. I turned the Wi-Fi off, I turned my phone off, I shut down every app, every open window. I stopped texting people. I said, no, leave me alone. Like I've done it. I've done it, mate. I've done it. And I'm
Brilliant.
back. Thank goodness. Thank
Right.
goodness.
Right. So Rick, we've spoke about thoughts on the game and team selection. So give us your overall thoughts on tonight's game and Angie's team selection tonight.
You know what? For me, gents, tonight was a really massive game. It was a massive game for so many reasons. We've had this narrative around us, for so long, rightly or wrongly, sometimes fairly, sometimes unfairly. And it's just all culminated to this point in time where there's a lot of kind of putrid kind of boiling hate for some of the players and some of the staff and the manager, and this just meant so much. We haven't seen Ange ball in a long time, right? And I was so glad to see it last week. and it was in patches last week, but it was throughout the 90, and I saw it then, and I was with you, Craig, and we were speaking about it then. 1-1 it ended, and I was like, look, it's not the end of. Yes, it would have been great taking advantage, but it's not the end of the end of the world right now. Those flashes gave me hope, and then obviously we have what Wolves is, which is, if we look at it, a changed side that should have won the game, but 4 individual errors at the same time, right? And then that loss puts us back into that big hole of nasty negativity, and this competition. And the way that we've been going in this competition has been a kind of pressure release valve for all of us, for all of our fans, but we haven't been allowed to enjoy it. We haven't been allowed to embrace it. We haven't been allowed to believe it. Do you know how many people that I saw, whether it be online or in a WhatsApp group or just texting in general, that were convinced that we was losing tonight? They were convinced, like their heart of hearts, they was like, no, I don't see us going away from home with that defense. In a high pressurized situation against their crowd and go and win the game. I just can't see it happening. And I'm like, whoa, everybody that I've spoken to, I felt like the only one man flying a flag. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just one man against the rest. And I'm like, yeah, but guys, and I know I'm disillusionally positive sometimes, and I do look for the silver lining sometimes. But part of me, that's what football's about. If I'm going to go through the grit and the grain with you, then I want to be there for the glory with you too. And I want to highlight, especially when there's so much wrong, what you do right in a moment. So tonight, for us having that first leg last week, which we should have come 3-4-1 up, I was totally convinced. I was convinced that 100%, stupidly, disillusionally, I was convinced the whole day that we was going to win this game. 100%. Anybody that asked me, I said 100% we're winning this game. 100%. We have to. If those boys stand for anything, right? If they're professional and they stand for anything, they have to stand up tonight, because tonight is their moment. If they're together and they say they back the manager and they want to be part of this system and they love playing in this system, which we've heard many a time from many a player, then they have to show up tonight. They knew that the crowds and the results, which are not good enough in the league, and the performances that they put out have not been good enough. But we've sympathized and we've empathized with some of their stresses and strains. But at the end of the day, the whole heap of stinking nastiness has still stuck, and it just keeps getting smellier and smellier. Do you know what I mean? Until tonight, which we needed tonight. We needed a 90-minute performance from that whole team, front to back. After Vicario looks shaky and makes 2 massive errors against Wolves, he comes out with big saves and a commanding performance again tonight. Was that defense troubled? Really? Yes, Frankfurt had their moments. 75 minutes to the end of the game, I think that was when I was the most worried. But the whole way through, I was 100% sure they had nothing on us, because I saw Romero on it. I saw Van der Ven on it. I saw that Porro was on it. And I saw that Udogie was all over it as well, which is another selection thing that we can talk about a bit later, whether Spence should have started. But again, the selection has been proved right, because not only those 4 went out there and performed fantastically, but we got a clean sheet for the first time in whenever. You know what I mean? So, like, the midfield was great. It was unlucky about Maddison, because I felt that he was really up for it again, like he was last week, and I felt that he had a point to prove, and it was unlucky when he came off. But from front to back, we done so much good tonight. Yes, we should have maybe scored more, but that ref again was terrible, and that ref's team was terrible tonight, like it was last week. But we didn't cry about it. Like we never do, Tottenham fans. We don't cry about some of the ref decisions, because we know that we never get nothing from them anyway. So we're all kind of resigned to just taking the whatever rubbish decision that they put against us. But there was many tonight. There was many referee decisions tonight that were like iffy. Even the pen that he had to go and have a look at the monitor to confirm it was a pen. I mean, come on, right? But anyway. With that noise, after going to Galatasaray and crumbling under that pressure a bit, and it was a massive wake-up call for a lot of the young ones, Archie Gray, Bergvall at that time. Like, it was a massive, wake-up call, and we lost that game horribly. Yeah, but we learned the lessons from that night. We've gone up against tough crowds, and all the fire and all the brimstone that we've had to fight through, and all the negativity, all the losses, we've got in a habit of losing. For them to get to this point where we needed them to win, every single person, we needed them to show up. It's not just a win. If it was just a fluky penalty, we would still be discussing different things about tactics and stuff like that. It wasn't that. From front to back for 90 minutes, those boys changed, adapted. They were all there working, fighting for each other to go and get through to the next round and to go and prove themselves as not only players and professionals that want to win and want to be there, but they want to win for that shirt and they want to win for the manager. And that's what I saw tonight, and that's what I needed to see tonight, and that's why I'm buzzing more than ever, because we showed that. I don't know why it's taken so long. We do know, but I don't know. but we're here right now when it matters. We're here right now when it matters. So right now when it matters, all of us fans, we need to get together. We need to unite. We need to back this team through this fire that we're about to go and face right now. Whoever we're facing next is going to be a war. They're in the semi-final too. They want it too. It means something for them and their country and their leagues too. So we're going to have to show that we really want this. And those boys showed that they wanted it tonight. That's what I'm more impressed with. To go up against that narrative and still stand. You know, I saw the boss smile tonight for the first time in ages. I saw Angel for 95 minutes tonight for the first time in ages. I saw the boys adapt, go to a back five and work a professional win. I saw so much. I saw, you know, yes, there was temperament, but I saw a lot of calmness, a lot of assuredness. When their crowd was whistling, when we had a ton of possession, did you see them flinch or panic or panic pass or just to get it? You know what I mean? When that whistling had an effect, the same way it had an effect against Galatasaray? Absolutely not. They were calm as hell. They was like, all right, and cool, we're just going to pass it and wait for the opening. And they did. We was in control. First 25 minutes back and forth. But after that, we were in control. Yes, they had a couple of breakaways, but they never troubled us. Not really, not once, not at all. Maybe the 75 minutes incident, whenever that was. But yeah, they had nothing on us. And I swear to you, I was sitting here. Every time they had a shot, I was sitting here calmly. I didn't think it was going to trouble Vicario or the goal. I swear to God, I swear to you, I'm not lying. I wasn't like, I didn't panic. My heart rate was still the same way it was. And I was like, I knew it wasn't going in because it was with us tonight. We needed it. We spoke about the football gods. Well, the football gods said, here you go. Here's one tonight. Now it's up to us as fans to get behind them and the team to take it on. So come on, you Spurs. Sorry.
Love it, Rick. Love it.
I've been lagging for a long time.
He made up for the lag in there, didn't he? Scribble is asked, can we show Angie's post-match interview? As soon as we get it, I'll put it on the screen, absolutely, because I'd love to see that as well. So
also, we got to send a shout out to Chris, who's out there right now. Do you know what I mean? Who was in that atmosphere and was cheering the boys on, and who's gone through home and away and all of the tough losses. I'm so happy that he is out there enjoying German beer tonight and singing and dancing and having a good one. Chris, make sure you drink another one for me, my friend. Come on, you Spurs. I'm so happy that you saw that win and you was there to say I was there on that night when we were really on the road to Bilbao. Do
you know what? You're right, Ricky, because we've all, as Spurs fans, we've suffered over the last few months, all season really. But for the away fans, the people that go, you know, week in, week out and get served up, let's face it, a lot of dross over the last few months. To get a win like that in such an important game, it just feels so good, doesn't it? And knowing we're still in it, we've got two opponents, well, 2 games to get to a final against Bodo Glimt. You would have took that in September when the draw was made, wouldn't you? 100%. We've got a really good chance.
But Craig as well, like, think about it, my friend. Let's be truthful, right? Like, you know, this campaign has drained you as much as it's drained me. We've both needed breaks and we've both had to step away from the podcast and from football for a moment because it has been tough. there's been a lot going on for every single fan out there. So even for you tonight, I'm happy that you've got a win, and I can come on here and smile, and we can all have a good one tonight. Dustin's there at 6 a.m. Do you know what I mean? Like on this podcast after a Tottenham win, where we're going through to a semi-final. That's the best morning ever. Like, come on, boys. We all needed this. Let's for a moment, don't worry about what happened yesterday. Let's worry about what happened tonight. And let's enjoy it, because we don't have many good times, but let's build and keep moving forward, man. Like, come on, boys.
Absolutely. Well, there's over 2,000 people watching at the moment that are enjoying it. So fair play to you. And smash the like button. I don't say that very often, but smash the like button. It helps the algorithm and all that. Gets the podcast pushed out to more Spurs fans all around the world. And some people watch this that aren't even Tottenham fans, because it's good content, which is great. And I must admit, Rick, we had a chat earlier. I had the opportunity to drink all afternoon. I didn't. I stayed professional. I had a few shandies because I knew I was doing this tonight. Part of me wishes I'd had a drink because it might have been more enjoyable than it is. But there you go. Right, let's get on to the match incidents. Cole, come to you. Couple of early half chances in the first half for Frankfurt. Nothing major. 16th minute, there was a brilliant tackle by Van de Ven when they went through. How they got in so easily, I don't know. It's happened quite a few times this season, but he made that tackle, slid in. Some people thought it could have been a penalty. It wasn't, nowhere near. But Van de Ven, how important is it to have Van de Ven back in this team? And let's couple this with Romero as well as a partnership. How good are they as a partnership? And how did you think Romero handled the captaincy tonight?
So I think first off, Van de Ven, I was thinking this. I was looking at him and thinking, it's so nice to see him obviously back, because he's missed so much of this season. He's been such a huge miss for us. Like, he sort of feels like a cross between Toby Alderweireld and Michael Dawson, with a bit of Ledley King thrown in as well, including, you look at that recovery and that famous recovery that Ledley King did. I think it was against Chelsea, wasn't it? Like, this guy is still a young player. He's still not anywhere near the peak that he's going to be. The pace of him, the calmness of him, the way he can bring a ball out. And he just, Romero's a World Cup winner, and he makes Romero a better defender. He makes Romero a calmer defender. And I think the two of them as a partnership, they are going to be, King and Dawson for us. They are going to be Alderweireld and Vertonghen for us if we keep them together long enough and keep them both fit and get them playing together. So we just haven't seen enough of that this season. And, that we're going to be positive tonight because we've all had enough of talking about the terrible performances. But let's that partnership, just putting that partnership in the heart of that team has got to be worth 15 points, 20 points a season, maybe even more than we would have had if we'd have had them for 38 games. So, yeah, I don't think you can downplay just how good a defender he is. And now I think, we've got Danso. There's obviously players out injured as well. Let's not forget the likes of Archie Gray doing such a fantastic stint in there for so long. So we've got options again. And I think that picking up on what Rick's saying about the positivity and how we need to really jump on this, I was in the away end at Wolves, and the fans, I don't think were turning. I don't think they were turning at any point, but you could just feel that. You could just feel it was just on the edge. It was just like the lighting of the paper. And a night like tonight needs to be the turning point for that, because, we've got big games ahead. It's a short season remaining. Let's face it, the league largely doesn't matter. It's easy to say that. I go to quite a lot of away games. When you're there and you've paid your money and you're in the away end and you're watching a dross performance, it does matter. But ultimately, I think we'd all give up the league and we'd finish 17th to make sure that we win the Europa. And Mickey van der Ven and Romero being in that partnership throughout that. It feels like the old days, doesn't it, when we used to just roll Ledley King out for a cup final or the North London derby or the Chelsea game. Obviously, I hope we're not going to get to that stage with Mickey van der Ven. We want a player who can play 40, 50 games a season for us at that level. But it could well be one or two of those comments that he made this week about, he wants to play and he wants to be involved. I understand, and I probably side with Ange on this over the player, that he wants to wrap him up in cotton wool, because obviously, we don't want any more injuries. So just great to have him back. He's just a Rolls Royce of a defender and a proper Tottenham defender. I think everyone probably knows what I mean when I say that, because There's a bit of Ledley King in there. There's a bit of Alderweireld. There's a bit of Michael Dawson. He's brilliant.
He's phenomenal. Absolutely. Dustin, just coming to you, just while we're on the defence, how did you think the fullbacks played tonight? Because I thought Udogie was outstanding tonight. It's probably one of the best games I've seen him play in a Spurs shirt.
Definitely the best performance from him this season. I felt that since he's come back from injury, what I've missed is the Udogie we saw in the first 10 games, right? The Udogie we saw in the first 10 games was overlapping on the outside, crashing the box to score goals or making cutbacks. And I think that we've seen a lot more of him as a defensive presence since he's come back from injury, and we haven't really seen him marauding on the wing. I think it's no coincidence that Tel had a good game because Udogie had a good game as well. And when both of them down that same flank are on song, making runs for each other, creating opportunities, whenever they make runs for each other, it pulls the defenders out of position as well. So I think that it's a symbiotic relationship when you have the winger and the fullback on song and having that chemistry to pull the defense apart. It really makes a huge difference. So I would say that it's been Udogie's best performance definitely this season. Was he the standout for the back? I think Porro did fairly well on the right. I think with Porro, it's one of those things where he's got a wonderful right foot. He's the closest to Trent Alexander-Arnold in terms of his ability to cross the ball, but defensively he does have the tendency sometimes to drop a break. So I think that he was fairly reliable, and we didn't see much of him crossing, but I think that the build-up for our attacking play was mostly on the left side, and then the right side would be, Johnson trying to go in to finish. I felt that we did more of our build-up play on the left flank, and then the right flank was either to finish or to do some of the pull defenders apart and then switch back to the left
lane. 20 minutes, great run by Johnson, crossed it to Tel, just fluffed the finish really. On 25 minutes, Tel cut inside, made their keeper work. Just staying with you, Dustin, what have you made of Matisse Tel? Because I thought he had a really good game tonight. I've not been 100% sure about him since he joined, to be honest. I don't think I've seen enough, but I think on tonight's performance, I thought he played very well tonight. Tel, what did you make of him?
I think Tel has kind of all of the attributes you want from a young player, which is like he plays with bravery. And that means sometimes he doesn't make the right decisions, or sometimes he may shoot when he should pass. But that is something that you expect of a young player. And it's not something you don't want a young player that doesn't have the guts to put a stamp on the game as well. And the decision making can be coached and improved, but you want him to have that mettle. You want him to have that gumption to go, I'm going to shoot because I can think I can score. And we saw that tonight where he was trying to curl that into the top right-hand corner. So for what it's worth, I think that he had a really good performance tonight, probably the best one I've seen him play so far. I think that what he needs to work on is to be less predictable in terms of not always cutting in. He should go outside sometimes, do a cutback sometimes, because I feel like he's almost like Iron Robin, where you always know he's cutting in, but Iron Robin, even if you knew he was doing it, you couldn't stop him, and he's not at that level yet. So I think that he needs to add a little variety to his game. But on the strength of this performance, I'm seeing what we brought him in for, and I think that it'll be interesting to see him with other combinations in the front three as well.
Rick, let's come to you. I wrote down here that Bentancur just seems so calm on the ball, even when he's under a lot of pressure. I think Bentancur has been probably one of the standout performers the last few weeks. Would you agree? What do you make of Rodrigo Bentancur? Rick? Rick, you with us? Obviously, I think he started to lag again. Cole, do you want to take that about Bentancur?
Yeah. I mean, you know, again, Rolls-Royce of a midfielder, 2 terrible injuries. I think it's taken a long time for him to get back to the player that we were seeing before those injuries. I think we've been very rotational in that central midfield partnership. I think he's definitely getting there. I think he's an important player for us. Again, one of those players that, you know, it's always it's probably a tired comparison now, but you know, when he first joined us, he looked like Dembele Mark II, the way that he could just hold a ball and control a game in the middle of the park. I've got to admit, I don't feel like he's still back to that player yet. But I do, I think he's a wonderful player, and I think he's kind of that player that we seem to sort of see Basuma alongside Sarr and Bentancur alongside Bergvall. That seems to be the kind of preferred partnerships. I do prefer the Bentancur-Bergvall partnership often. So yeah, I think
good. He was good with it. I have to just jump in there. I thought Bergvall was really good again, but you're right. That's the partnership that seems to be blossoming at the moment, doesn't it?
It does, and you know, out of the 4 of them, Bergvall's been the absolute pick, hasn't he? And which is remarkable when you consider his age and the fact it's his first full season with the club. He's been absolutely wonderful. So, you know, I think as well, you don't know what that influence is for a young player like Bergvall to play alongside, especially a player like Bentancur. You know, so you know, we've got decent options in there again. I'd love to see Bentancur really stamp his name as one of the first names on the team sheet, which I think he was before his injuries. I personally don't think he's back to that yet. I think sometimes you can still, you know, if it's, I don't know, Sarr and Bergvall, you go, okay, great, let's see that, you know. So what I want to see from Bentancur is I want to see him. I just want to see him just really take a stranglehold on that position and be one of the first names on the team sheet. But I'd say out of all of our central midfielders, I think Bergvall's closest to that player at the minute. I think Bergvall's the player that we miss the most when he's not on the pitch. But yeah, to return to Bentancur, I think he's getting there. I think he's returning back to the player that we saw before those injuries, because they were terrible injuries.
Yeah, I think he's definitely getting there. Rick, are you back with us now? No, don't think Ricky's back with us. Okay, we'll just crack on, Rick. I think your internet's playing up again. 39 minutes. Romero, long ball over the top to Maddison.
I don't know. Am I? Oh no!
Reboot, Rick. Reboot. Oh, technology's letting us down tonight. Let's come back to you, Dustin. For the goal, this actually led to Romero, long ball over the top to Maddison, who gets absolutely clattered by the keeper. And I obviously saw it in real time, and I just wrote down here foul ? And then it was plainly obvious that the keeper had absolutely gone through Maddison. For me, I mean, I've been critical of Maddison this season, but that was very brave, I thought, of Maddison to actually go in for that header, because you know in that situation the keeper's going to be rushing off his line, and you're likely to get clattered. And he did get clattered, and he got I think he went off with almost a dead leg high up on his hip. So what did you make of James Maddison before that moment, Dustin?
I think for James Maddison, it's one of those things where he is either pivotal to a game when he's on song, or there are some games where it just passes him by. So I wish we knew what it was to get him to the consistency, because we know the levels he can get to. And it was really supremely brave to go for that header, because he's not, traditionally a header of the ball or known for aerial prowess anyway. So to go up against the keeper for that was utter bravery, and it probably should have been a red card. But yeah, for James Maddison, one of the issues I've had, and I don't really want to be negative about him, because he's our captain, and he's probably the best creative player we have. But I almost feel like he takes the banter too seriously, and I think that it sometimes distracts him. So when he's like, going up with Roy Keane, and he's going, how many teams have scored against us and done the dart celebration? So clearly, he's someone that either winds people up or people like to make fun of him. And I think that's fine when you're the focal point of the team and you are consistently the best player in the team. But I feel like he attracts the hate and he motivates other opponents to want to beat him. But if you're going to do that, then be the man and be the most important player of the team that gets us through everything. Be a Kane or a Bale, or at least an Ericsson at that level, or Modric. But I feel that he needs to get a little more consistency to be as important a player for us to do that.
Ricky, are you back with us?
I don't know. Am I?
Yes, you answered within a
Yeah?
minute. Then,
Am I back?
yeah,
Oh
I
my
think you're back. Brilliant. Right, okay, we're on to the goal.
Bloody hell.
So we've just talked about Maddison being absolutely wiped out. Talk us through this. It's a penalty, we know, but look, it won us the tie and it got us through. How cool was that penalty by Solanke?
It was so cool, but especially after the little bit of controversy. I say a little bit of controversy, but when Tel picked it up and said that he wanted it, and then the boss made a conscious decision to let everybody know it was Dom that was going to take it. that gesture alone showed that the boss has got faith in him. He still trusts him, and he still believes that Dominic Solanke is the man to put the ball in the back of the net for us. In the most vital of pivotal point that we needed a goal to go in. So when the boss made that statement, I think that was massive. And then for Dom to step up, no problem taking the ball off of Tel against that crowd, the noise, the pressure, and the keeper like pointing to his right hand side, going, go on, go that side. Not only did he step up and stutter step, but he put it right down the middle, mate. Right down the middle. After not scoring for how long, but being a very pivotal part of the system, of the cog. He's been the anchor man. He's been the selfless striker, really. Unselfish striker who's been the battering ram to hold it up and play others in to try and benefit the team. But tonight, he not only did he stand up, but the boss said, that's the man I want to stand up in this moment. So it was massive for Dominic Solanke tonight. And you might think that I'm being dramatic and overly kind of hyping him up, but he's had so much stick this year that you have to highlight these moments. He's another one that just before this game had the press on his back about not scoring for how many, since January or something like that. I don't know, but he has had injury. He has come back, and he does play a different type of role. If we ever had Bobby Firmino at the club, do you know what I mean? Do you know how much ridicule he would get? I never got Bobby Firmino, but speaking to one of my Liverpool friends, one of my brothers, who he's an actor as well, but I love him to pieces. So we speak football all the time. But he basically done the same type of role, which was hold up, battering ram, and bring others in. The only time he was guaranteed to score, Bobby Firmino, was against Tottenham, as we all know. But he plays that role for us. But he was lauded at Liverpool for that role, Bobby Firmino. And the fans stood up for him in the times that everybody, when somebody like me goes, but he just doesn't score. What's the point in a striker that doesn't score? But they used to stand up and go, no, but he does A, B, C, D, and E. Do you know what I mean? And I can go, all right, and cool. But I don't watch them every week. So, okay, fine. I think that's the same in Solanke. So I think that tonight, there were so many incidents tonight that were massive incidents. Everybody's been, because arguably Maddison's been Jekyll and Hyde a little bit this year, but I think he's had more good performances than bad, or at least it's very close to the middle. And tonight, he was another one that wanted to stand up and wanted to go. And not that he knew what he was doing, but he knew that it was a risky run and header to go for it with the goalkeeper rushing out.
Yeah.
That goalkeeper had no intentions on getting the ball. In the slow-mo, I saw it in real time, but in the slow motion, he led with his knee to go for Maddison's body. His objective was to take the man out of the equation and worry about the ball later, and then roll around on the floor like he was hurt. But he took Maddison out, and it wasn't even the hit; it was the fall back. How Maddison collapsed in two. I hope he does yoga, because bloody hell. Sorry for saying bloody hell, but cheese on bread. Like it was horrific. The way that he fell, the way that he landed, and the goalkeeper landed on top of him. You know, he really must have pulled that hip joint. I think he's going to be out for at least 2 weeks, hopefully just 2 weeks. But you know, that was tough, but it was very brave to do. And we deservedly got our goal at that point. That wasn't just lucky, you got a goal and you won 1-0. No, we was deserved at that point, because we had the possession, we had the shots on target, and we were the ones that looked more dangerous at that moment. So for all of those reasons, it was just that we got that penalty. It was the right decision after having to go to VAR. I don't understand how the ref had to go to VAR. I don't understand how the ref had to go to VAR, but he did, and then made the right decision. He made several decisions, especially in that second half, that went against us, and I was just like, is he okay? At one point, there was a throw-in that wasn't Frankfurt's throw-in, and I was like, now it's just getting silly. But with all of that, they didn't whinge, they didn't cry, they stood up, they carried on fighting, they carried on being professional at times. You know, like, I love my team to continue going forward. I don't like us taking it into the corner or anything like that. But the fact that we went at 5 at the back, and the way that we could do that as well, bringing Danzo on the pitch and changing the system. People have criticised Ange about not having plan Bs and not being able to adapt. And I've come on here and I've spoken about certain adaptations, and it's almost been brushed away. We went to a back three against Everton. It was horrendous. It was horrendous. It was horrendous. It was the worst performance that I've seen. But he tweaked and he tried something new because of the pressure at that moment in time. It didn't work, and he switched again in the second half. But today we was able to switch with a proper defender in the defensive position and go to back five and see out a game. Not defend, not call them on, but say, we know what's going to happen right now. We know what the ref's doing. We know that you're getting everything. So we're going to bring Pap Sarr into the middle, who can screen everything, and bring Danzo on as the third centre-back. I mean, you got to give Aaron some credit for changing, for adapting, and for professionally winning that game. That wasn't just overlapping fullbacks to win that game for 90 minutes. There was tweaks, there was adjustments, and there was a will to win that game. So we deserved that penalty. We deserved that clean sheet. And we deserved what we got tonight, man. It was a fantastic game, and it was a convincer that we needed, and the boys needed, to keep moving forward and to get us into the final.
Absolutely. Well, as a result of that challenge, obviously Maddison had to go off, and Kulu came
I
on
hope you
for the
got all
last
that
minute.
without lagging.
Yeah, no, we did, Rick. Yeah, we got all of it. Very impassioned as always, and of course because of that challenge on Maddison, he had to go off. And Kulu came on for the last minutes of the first half. We now have Angie's press conference. It's just under 6 minutes long, and I will play it now.
Congratulations, Ange. You must be delighted with the maturity of your team tonight.
Yeah, I'm delighted with many things, and super proud of the lads. Look, you're playing away from home, quarter-final against a very good side. You're going to have to work really hard and be well organised and disciplined, and also, we needed to score tonight, so we needed to show the quality we have as well. And to a man, I just thought they were outstanding. So proud of them that in such a big game, they delivered a performance that means we're through to the semi-final. And I think over the two legs, I think we deserve to go through. Tie could well have been over in the first leg, but again, we've earned the right to be in the semi. Gary.
After a difficult
season with injuries, etc. Do you kind of have a sixth sense that Tottenham's name might be on this trophy?
No, I don't think that way. But you know, from our perspective, look, you know, we've had a difficult season. I think there's some reasoning behind that you know, which was pretty evident tonight. That, you know, when we got our strongest team out there, a lot of the things that we've sort of suffered with this year, I'm sure we wouldn't have, because you know, the spine of our team, you know, at times Vicario, Romero, Van der Ven, Bentancur, Solanke, like these guys, we were missing all of them at different times this year. And you know, when we've got the whole group, and it's not just them, it's the whole group together, you know, we know that we can be a team that's you know, pretty compelling against anybody. And you know, we're in the final four now, so we give ourselves a chance. Jay.
Hi, Ange. Congratulations. I saw you walk down the tunnel at the end of the game with your arm around James Maddison. Just wanted to check in on how he's doing after what happened.
Yeah, he's fine. Unbelievable courage in that moment. You know, to put his body on the line, knowing full well he was going to, you know, cop a pretty severe knock. I mean, I was surprised it wasn't a red card, but yeah, super courageous from him. And look, he's sore, but I'm sure that's all been numbed, knowing that you know, he's helped us progress to a semi.
Matt. Hello, Ange. I was going to ask you about that as well. Are you warming to VAR tonight? Are you pleased with the intervention, or are you still a bit cross that it wasn't a red card?
Oh, well, you know, I mean, we can be a bit sort of facetious about that, Matt, but I thought it was a clear penalty. I'm not sure why it needed VAR. I mean, when a player wins the ball and it gets cleaned up, if that was a defender, it would definitely be probably a red card. Now, it's a goalkeeper, so maybe, but it's definitely a penalty. I don't think it needed a review. So, again, I think we got what we deserved.
George.
Hi, and congratulations. You've always had belief in this squad and this team, but I'm guessing you probably couldn't say really strongly, you know, to everyone you're going to win the Europa League before this two ties. How much confidence do you have in this squad now to go all the way and deliver what the fans have wanted for so long?
Well, look, I mean, I think, you know, we can't get too far ahead of ourselves. You know, we're in the semi-final, and you know, we're going to have a difficult opponent in the semi. But it's not about my belief in the team. I think what's more important is the belief the team's had. You know, because after a season like ours, it would be very easy for the players and the staff to, you know, I've said before, you know, that they could have left me in a pretty vulnerable place in terms of, you know, them splintering at any. But I've never felt that. You know, with all the noise around you know, our season, you know, they've been so united in believing in what we're trying to achieve here, and that's what gave me heart all along. That, you know, if we got our own little bit of slice of luck in terms of just getting some players back, that, you know, I really believed that this team, you know, could achieve, and that's what keeps driving me. It's not so much my belief in them; it's their belief in what we're doing, and both, you know, and the players and staff have just been outstanding. Like I said, you know, I'm the front man for it, but you know, they take responsibility for it as well, for all my decisions and everything I do. But not at any stage have I felt that they've lost any belief in me or what we're doing, and that's just crucial when you're having a difficult season. But there's also a season of opportunity there.
Ryan, to finish, please.
Hi, and congratulations. I just wanted to ask about your own kind of personal feelings. Obviously, it's no secret it's been a tough season, and coming into this game, it must have been quite tough having to deal with all the noise. So to win in the manner in which you did, how are you kind of feeling? Is there relief, or?
I think I said yesterday, I'm the same manager today that I was yesterday. So if people think that us winning tonight makes me a better manager, whoever didn't think I was doing a good job yesterday should be feeling the same way today. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect what I do. For me, it's always about the dressing room. You know, do the players believe? Do the staff believe? That's much more important than what others may, you know, make of me. So, unfortunately, for a lot of you, you're going to have to put up with me for a little bit longer, mate. So we'll just see how that goes. All right. Thank you
very much.
Interesting press conference there from Ange. Carl, he obviously wasn't getting too ahead of himself, but he did mention there about players, injuries. He obviously hinted at that again, and he said that how different this team would be when we got all our players back. What's your opinion on that? Because we've had the players back for a few weeks, and we haven't seen a performance like that for a while now. What do you think it is? Do you think it's simply that even the players in the players' minds, they know we're safe in the league pretty much? Do you think the players are kind of putting everything into the Europa basket now and know that those are the most important games?
Well, look, obviously, I suppose we can only ever speculate as to what goes on behind closed doors, but I don't think any fan of this football club would be surprised if the message behind closed doors hasn't been Europa League or bust. The league kind of went a long while ago, and the Europa League has been the priority. So yeah, there's possibly a little bit of that. I just scribbled down a couple of things that you wrote there. I mean, in terms of saying the players believe their belief in what we're doing, that they've not lost that belief. He said that about 3 times in 3 different ways. I'm not 100% certain I fully agree with him there. I think there are definitely players in that squad that have queried it. I think James Maddison is probably one of the ones who probably struggles to hide that the most, actually. Maybe just sometimes a player's disappointed getting dragged off or whatever. But, is that a little bit of a kind of comment to kind of go, he's had a bit of stick from the stands of late, and, I think probably has recognised that some of the fan base, I think he's even literally said it, that some of the fan base have audibly maybe lost that bit of confidence in what was going on. But that's kind of, if you like, he's every right to be pleased and to rest on his, not rest on his laurels, sorry, but I suppose get on his soapbox about it tonight, because it's a very professional performance and that he has made changes when he needed to make them. I will also say one of the other things he said was the tie could have been over in the first leg. I completely agree. That first 10 minutes of the second half when it was 1-1, where we definitely could have put them away, and then we didn't actually make any changes and allowed Frankfurt back into it. And Frankfurt really, I think, played, to almost see if they could get something on the break. But I think Frankfurt were absolutely delighted to go home with a 1-1 last week. A, because they rode their luck against us, and B, because they probably thought they're going to turn us around in the home leg. So, and then we've had poor performances since then. So put all of that into the mix. It is a really, really monumental performance for us to get through tonight, because that's the ultimate objective. And I'm sorry if I can't credit the right person, I think someone had put, Ange Mourinho and things like that. There's various names. I mean, it was a Mourinho performance in that respect. It was professional. It was tight. He brought Danso on at the right time. He was, I suppose, forced to bring Kulusevski on earlier than he maybe would have liked to. We were talking about Solanke a short while ago. I think Solanke's been fantastic. I think he looked isolated. I think he's played really, really well, and the goals just haven't come since he's come back from injury. And I think it was a really brave decision as well to allow him to step up and take that penalty, because, Solanke's had periods in his career where he's been scoring 2 or 3 goals in a season. He's had that in his early career where he's been that striker. All strikers, of course, are bred on confidence, but I think Solanke in particular is one of those players where when he goes 4 or 5 or 6 games without a goal, I think that probably plays on his mind more than it would a Harry Kane or whoever. So him rolling the ball in the back of the net, we need him back on the score sheet, and that's really important as well. So, I think Ange is sat there, kind of, he's taken a lot of stick, he's taken a lot of press conferences that he probably doesn't want to sit through recently. He gets to kind of slap it back a little bit today, say, you'll have to deal with me a bit longer and get up and go home. So, interesting. But as I say, I think we none of us know what goes on behind closed doors, but I think if you asked every player to swear that they believed in the system and believed in the tactics we've been playing this season, I'm not 100% that's true. But fair credit where it's due tonight. He changed his system, he changed his way of playing, and it worked.
Yeah, and Misha Mikey, yeah, he's saying I'm the same age as him. Good age. Born in 1973, I take it. Played for 42 years. Until the last game, I always wanted to win. Otherwise, by not playing in the league, I can see that. I just think we're getting outplayed in the league. I would kind of agree with that. I think we are. I don't quite know what it is. I still think there's some mental thing that the players are now probably shooting for the Europa, and with obviously now in the semi-final, I think you're going to see that a bit more. But I do think, and we'll come on to the Forest preview at the end, I do think we do need to start picking up in the league just to give us a bit of that momentum back. I think you can't beat momentum. Second half, 60 minutes, Romero header from a corner went just wide. I was celebrating. I thought that one had actually gone in. 65 minutes, Tell chance hit over the bar. 66th minute, Bentancur heads over from a corner. Had some really good chances there. Just coming around to you, Dustin. 75th minute, a brilliant save by Vicario from Chaibi that I think he saved with his feet down low. He didn't have tons to do tonight, Vicario, but he really, really came good when we needed him at the end, didn't he?
Yeah, I think that one thing that when Vicario was injured and we had Kinski come in, we were like, oh, he's got great distribution, and we kind of forgot Vicario's shot stopping. And in the games that Vicario has been back, I think he has the best shot stopping for shots saved. I think he's like second in the league or something like that, meaning that his percentage of shots saved for the amount of shots that he faces is I think 75.6 or something. So he saves about 3/4 of the shots that he faces. And when we defend the way that we do, we need a keeper that can get us out of jail, and that is happening a lot. And I think that a big part of it is kind of because we're such an attack biased team in our system. It's not that we defend badly. It's just we're asking our defenders to be such attacking-minded players that's why we have Van der Ven, who needs to sprint back. That's why we have Romero, who's actually our playmaker. So we're asking our defenders to do things that are not very defendery. So it's not, when we concede goals, it's not that they're not good players, just that our system makes them play as attacking players and with an attacking bias. So when the system breaks down and we get scored against, it's despite their quality, not because they're bad players, but it's because the system is such an attacking system that we are always kind of in that position. So I think that Vicario, we have one of the fastest centre-backs in the league. We have one of the most aggressive centre-backs and playmakers in the league. And then we have one of the best shot stoppers in the league. So we already have 3 players almost custom-made to play a system like that. But even then, it still breaks down because of how we always lose the man on the far post and things like that. So I think that having a goalkeeper like Vicario helps us cover a lot of the defensive gaps that we do leave from playing that system.
Rick, just coming to you. People are talking about Bodo Glimt. They're not going to be a pushover. We know that. But if you could have chosen opponent for the semi-final, you probably most of us would have chosen them. I can't really give you many stats about how their season's going because their season only started in March, I think, and it runs to November, and they've played 2-1-2, not conceded a goal yet. So difficult to see how they're doing in the league, but I think they're second at the moment. 78th minute, Sarr came on for Tell. 82nd minute, Christensen fires wide for Frankfurt. Again, I thought that was going to be on target. He just managed to pull it wide. 85th minute, Johnson off for Danso, and that's when we went 5-3-2. That's what Ricky was talking about. A slight tweak to the system. Obviously worked. And the 87th minute, Ekatike wide from a header. And that was about it. I think we saw him out pretty well, Rick, towards the end there, didn't we? I know you said you weren't nervous at all, but was there any moment in that last 10, 15 minutes where you was on the edge of your seat?
It was that free kick. There was a free kick in the second half. I want to say it was around 75 minutes. And it was a good free kick, but that was the only one that kind of made me go, ooh. But apart from that, mate, honestly, and I know that we'd gone to a 5 at the back and they were kind of, they was throwing the kitchen sink at it. But I swear to you, I just had a really stupid belief that they were not going to trouble our goal. Whether it was Vicario or one of the defenders or it going out, I wasn't worried about their free kicks, their corners. And this is a side that, to be fair to Tottenham, have worked on the set plays, for and against, attacking and defensive. But again, that was our Achilles heel last season and coming into this season, which was a question for the first 4 to 6 to 8 weeks of the season, where everybody was still talking about set plays when we'd only conceded from 2 set plays in the first 8 games or something like that. Don't quote me. I'm not a statistician. But something like that. Do you know what I mean? So, but I was not worried, mate. It was just that free kick. And I think, again, what was really, I think the difference tonight than every other performance this year was, for the first time in a very long time, we were winning the second balls high up the field. Now, normally when we lose the ball high up the field, they are straight on a counter attack. 1-2 passes, they're in behind, everybody's panicking, everybody's raggedy, we're all over the place, and they probably end up scoring or go close to scoring. And that's what gives me a heart attack too, right? But today, for the night, I mean, I can't really remember. There were 1 or 2. I know there were 1 or 2 that Frankfurt had, but they were handled. I mean, when you look at that Van der Ven run back and challenge for Ekitike, I took your pronunciation. I hope I got it. I took your pronunciation. But when he ran back, I think it was in the first half when he chased him back, but the whole time he was running back, like Van der Ven had him. Not once did I think that Ekitike was going to shift and score at any one point. I knew that he had him, and then he goes and slides in and blocks a shot. Great. Good opportunity for him, but we dealt with it. Like, from front to back. You look at Johnson. Johnson was another one today, right? Johnson, I think, has had his best performance, all-round performance for me, and he didn't score. And the reason that he had his best performance for me is because he stretched the play going forward and was always a danger and was always open to receive something. He made the right passes at the right time, the majority of the time, but he also ran back. He also blocked. He also covered Porro when he was high up the pitch. He also got involved within the game, within the 90. He didn't just stay up the field and wait for the ball to get to him, or almost, you know, like I think some of the criticism for Johnson comes when he might not seem like he's done anything for 60 minutes, but then he'll pop up and score. And you got to give him credit because he pops up and scores. But today I felt that he was involved in everything throughout the game. He had a burning desire in his soul to show everybody and himself that he is an all-round player. Like, it's the first time, mate, that I've literally seen him, everything that he tried today, majority, let's say 8 out of 10 because I've been drinking. But the majority, let's say 8 out of 10, things that he pulled off, he got right, and he made a difference, and he was making things happen, and he was a worry for those Frankfurt defenders. You've also got, you know, so you've got to give him credit for standing up. Tell has also had criticism since he's come in. And again, we have to have understanding, but, you know, because of the desperate situation that we're in, we want everybody to come in and just do the job and do it as quickly as you can, because we're desperate. We're desperate for something to say something to shout about, something to feel good about. We're desperate for something to happen. And when it don't happen, it's like, and it's easy to do that. And tonight, I feel Tell showed what he would a version of what he would bring to the side, because he had trickery up there, he had some strength up there, he was available, he made the right passes, he made the right shots. It might not have come off, but like very similar to Sonny, like the shot that he had on goal, that was, you know, a really good top corner type of shot. It was a Sonny shot, and so you can see that the elements in there. But for me, what I was really encouraged about, not only his performance for how long he played, but his will to want to be a part of the team by being the team player that he was for the amount of time. And watch it back. If you don't believe what I'm saying, I know I've been drinking, but watch it back. I know. But watch it back, right? Like, he was willing to win for this team in this shirt, not just willing to win for himself to get a move or to get a magazine deal or to get a deal with Adidas. That wasn't what he was playing for today. He was playing to show us and to show everybody what he can bring to this team, and it wasn't 100% of what he can bring because he's not there, but he showed us enough. He showed us enough, and if he can continue to show that until the end of the season when he gets an opportunity, I think he could be a very dangerous player. And you might laugh and you might snigger, but everybody needs to go back to when we just signed Sonny, and at the end of the first season, a lot of people were saying, get rid of him. He does too many step overs. He runs into brick walls. He loses the ball too much. And he was even thinking about leaving at the end of the first season. It was Pochettino that said, no, trust me, bruv. Stay with me. It'll be fine. And the rest is history, as they say. But just remember when he was doubted. Just remember when everyone was like, he can't play because of what league he came from, because he comes originally from the South Korean league and he's made his way through. Do you know what I mean? He's not going to be able to do it here. He's too lightweight. There were so many things that were put against Son and people. There was a lot of people that were calling for Sonny to be sold in his first year. So let's just remember that. I'm not saying that but it gave me a glimpse of what he can bring to this side. When I've been asked by other Tottenham fans, not just opposition fans, Tottenham fans, what he brings, I say a lot of things, but I ain't got a lot of evidence to back it up with. But tonight is a moment where I can say that is what he brings to the side. If he gets to run of games, if he can grow his game and adapt his game and utilize his game towards the Premiership style and a European style, he could be dynamite. He's a diamond in the rough. And he's got so much going for him. He really has. But that diamond needs to be polished, and it needs to be cured, and it needs to be created so that it can, you know what I mean, be the beautiful thing that it can be. But we saw a flash of that tonight. I don't want that to just, and I hope that continues, and I hope that he grows on that so that he can show us what I'm trying to speak about. But both of those performances were massive, Tell and Johnson, because a lot of people have had the impression, and a lot of trolls out there have had the impression that these are just passengers within our system. And you look at the results, and you can easily say, because we've lost a lot of games, yes, that's the case. But tonight, both of them showed so much, and I think that's important. And I'm saying this because I might leg out before I finish, so I need to get it out. So before I lag and I glitch again. Do you know what I mean? But they done such a great performance that I think that was like one of those pivotal moments in a Tottenham shirt that we can say that's when we saw them. And if they can continue that, and if they can build on that, I think that it could be glorious. But I don't want to go there right now. But it could be glorious, and I can't wait for it. And I really wish that we can continue that. I don't even know what question you asked me, by the way.
No, I can't remember, funny enough, but there you go. It's the drink. Well, look, let's see if Johnson is back in league action, because, of course, on Monday we play Forest at our ground. I'm going to have to show you the table in two different sections, of course, because we're a bit lower down than Forest are. So as you can see, Spurs are obviously in 15th. They're on 37 points. We're safe from relegation. In fact, if the Gooners beat Ipswich on Sunday, I think that match is, then we are technically safe. I never thought I'd be saying that at the beginning of the season. And of course, Forest are lofty heights of 4th, pushing for Champions League position. Who'd have thought that at the beginning of the season, if they was talking about this game coming up on Monday? One of these teams will be Champions League and one will be down near the bottom. I'd never have had us there, but it is what it is. Head-to-head, Spurs Forest, 7 wins for Tottenham, played 15. 7 wins for Forest with 1 draw, 4 home for Spurs, 4 away for Forest. Very even, in fact, 3 away and 3 away. Form guide. Do I need to go through our results? Obviously, we know 2-2 against Bournemouth, 2-0 away loss at Fulham, 1-0 away loss at Chelsea, 1 against Southampton, 3-1, and then, of course, last week's dismal display against Wolves, 4-2 loss. Forest, meanwhile, they beat Man City 1-0. They beat Ipswich 4-2. They beat Manchester United 1-0. Lost to Villa 2-1 and lost to Everton 1-0. I mean, last two games, can we hang our hats on that? Last two games, Forest haven't won any points, so we could possibly hang our hats on that. Top player stats, Chris Wood, of course, we know all about him. He, New Zealander, he played for Leeds. I actually watched him when he was at Leeds. He was actually one of those, he's a proper old style centre forward, number 9. 18 goals for Chris Wood and 11 for Johnson, 9 for Maddison. An assist, Sonny's top of that list, 9 for him. Anthony Elanga with 8. And Morgan Gibbs-White, who I really rate as a player for Forest, with 7. So coming on to the game on Monday, Cole, how do you think... actually, before then, there's a bit of a press conference from Nuno. On Thursday afternoon, he was asked... some Tottenham questions in his press conference ahead of the Tottenham game. And he was asked these 3 questions, and this is what he had to say.
Tottenham play tonight, a really important game for them, which kind of could make or break their season. Do you think the outcome of tonight's game could really dictate the mentality that they bring in to Monday's game?
Chris, I cannot answer that, but for us, we're gonna watch the game. It's a big game for us as analysis. We'll determine what we expect on the Monday night lineup. So our focus is on that.
What are your memories of Boxing Day, beating Spurs? You said enjoy the moment, City was alive. And it was at the end of this, well, not at the end, it was part of this incredible run that you were on. And I talked about that resilience earlier. You'd had a couple of disappointing results, but then you went into this amazing run and it kind of culminated with Boxing Day.
Yeah, I remember that game was a tough game. Like, it's going to be Monday. Spurs is a big team and a good team of players, and we know what we're going to face. It's going to be a different challenge for us, but we cannot predict a run. What we want is to prepare the game. More than anything, we cannot expect that what happened before is going to happen again. So it's up to us to try and make it possible.
There's a lot of talk about Ange's position at Tottenham, and if they lose tonight, he might lose his job. We don't know that. But as a manager, how difficult is it to sort of pull the outside noise away and just focus on the job you've got to do?
All managers, we face the same. It's up to us to try and ignore and focus on the job that we can control. And like Ange, like me, like all the managers in the world, what we can control is prepare our players.
Interesting little snippet there, Carl, from Nuno. Obviously, probably bad memories of all told being at Tottenham, but doing very well at Forest. So, how do you see this game going? And give us a score prediction.
Well, first off, I mean, I love that press conference where as soon as Tottenham's bench, he's like, yeah, let's get this over and done with. You may as well just say your ex-girlfriend's looking a bit rough these days, but you're going out with the worldie. How do you feel about that, Nuno? And that's pretty much what's going on there, isn't it? You know, like he basically, he wants to sit there and go, yeah, no, well, look how that's turned out, doesn't he? But he can't. So I was there also on Boxing Day in that away end. That was good fun as well. That was another good day out this season. So it would be nice to put that right. I mean, just like you said, Craig, if you'd have said at the start of the season, 4th versus 15th in this game, how many times out of 100 would you have said it would have been this way round? So they're having a fantastic season. Chris Wood seems to terrorise us. I seem to remember him equalising for Burnley at Wembley late on, about 6-7 years ago, before we moved into the new stadium. So Chris Wood normally does terrorise us, even when he hasn't been on form. They are really, really going for it in the Champions League, and they've had those 2 bad results, you know. So actually, that's really contracting now, and all season they've been in that top 3, let alone top 4. So there's a lot more riding on that game for them. We need to bounce off. We need to bounce off tonight. We need to get a little bit of form. I am a positive Spurs fan. I think Rick tops me. on being a positive Spurs fan, but I do see myself as being a positive Spurs fan. I don't often come on and predict that we won't win, but I think a 1-1, maybe 2-2 draw, bit of a ding-dong, Monday Night Football, quite entertaining under the floodlights, Brennan Johnson brace. That's what I'm going to say. I'll go 2-2.
Well, I'm going to go 2-1 Tottenham, actually, and I think Brennan Johnson will score against his old team. Dustin, how do you see this game going on Monday, and give us a score prediction?
I think we'll have a bit of rotation, and hopefully we'll see some of the players that filled in for us when most of the team was injured. I must confess, I'm a bit disappointed to not see Archie Gray play as much. I would like to see more of Mikey Moore. I'd like to see more of the players fringe players that did come in, and even though it was a rough patch for us, they did come in, and I think that even Bergvall has matured a lot enough to be a first team player because he was thrown off the deep end when we had that injury spell. So I'll be interested to see those players play against for us. I'm not sure we'd necessarily get a result, but I think that seeing them play together as a team and start achieving some chemistry as a unit would always be useful, because it means that when you put them in, they're not playing with strangers. They've actually played with the rest of the first team before. So I would say maybe the lineup may have maybe about 4 to 5 changes from the team that played in Champions League, and then I'm expecting a 2-1 loss.
2-1 loss, okay. And finally, Rick, how do you see this game going? And give us a score prediction.
All right, quickly, Craig, you got to help me, my friend. What's the next game after Forest? Is it another league game or is it Lazio?
That will be a league game against Liverpool, is it? Or am I making it up?
No, Liverpool away.
And Carl, how long is it? Is it a week late? How long is the game? How long is the Liverpool game?
The following weekend.
6
days.
Yeah,
6 days.
The Sunday afternoon. Yeah.
Okay, so with that in mind, I would go along the lines of, playing as close to the first team, like Dustin was saying, playing as close to the first team as possible with a couple of rotations. If all of that first team is fit, I would play them, because a winning team, needs to get used to winning. A clean sheet needs to be built on. So I would kind of go with them. But for instance, I totally get that we are overly cautious, because not just of the injuries that we've had, but it's the reoccurring injuries that we've had. It's think about Romero. Romero came out with a strain, I think, at first. And then as soon as he comes back, he gets a toe injury. No, it's the other way around. Toe injury, and then he came back and got a strain, and then he was out for I don't know how long with a mystery illness. Van der Ven has come back. He went out with the hamstring, and then he's come back, and then it's been in and out and in and out. And you know what? In all fairness to that last press conference that he had, when he got asked about playing, any player and every player is going to say that they want to play every game. Whether they're fit or not, they're going to say that they want to play every game. So in fairness to him, of course he's going to say that. But we know in the last game that he played, come 70 minutes, I think it was. I think it might have been 80 minutes at the max, but he was pulling up with cramp. I can't remember what that game was right now because I've been drinking. But he pulled up with cramp. Okay, so that's the reason why we're wrapping him up in cotton wool. Tonight's performance with him and Romero in the back line, how assured that was and how strong that was and how formidable that was, is the reason that we've wrapped him up in cotton wool, because we've had reoccurring injuries this season. It's not just been an injury of one player, and they've been in and out. It's been a so that's why the management and the team have been cautious with him especially, but the majority of the team. So for me, I would like Dustin was saying, I would make few changes for me, a couple of rotations, but have whoever comes off to be on the bench to be able to come on. Now, Maddison, whatever happens, I think he should have the day off. But it's always, look at this as well. Even with Kulu starting, Kulu needs minutes. He needs to get up to match sharpness. We saw that today. With all of his fight and vigor, he didn't have the match sharpness today when he came on. So I think he's going to have to start. So Maddison, take a break. Whatever happens, have the day off, mate. It's all right. So rotate it a little bit, but it's all about, even though whatever team comes in, it's all about believing in that way of playing and doing what you done tonight. It doesn't take having to be in a life or death situation that we turn up and perform. I'm happy that we did because we normally don't, but it shouldn't be that way. We need to start building a culture of winning the way that we win, like we did tonight, and probably more goals, but like we did tonight. So, you know, because the Liverpool game is a week later, I would go close to the first team with very few rotations. And my score prediction is going to be 3-1 Tottenham. I think that they're going to bounce off of the energy of tonight and take that into the game. And, you know, I still think that they care about the league. I see it in their faces. I saw it in their faces in defeat against Wolves. So they still care about the league. And they haven't just chucked the league away just for the Europa. I don't see that. I see that we've been in a negative funk for a long time, and we've had curses and hoodoos over us, and they want to set that right. I don't think Ange goes out there to lose any game. The way that he came into Tottenham was that he didn't like to lose any game. He likes to win it all. So I don't think that he's going to prepare that team to lose that game. And I think that those players don't go into that game thinking, I want to save myself for Lazio. Bodo Glyn. So let's go. Let's continue this momentum. Let's please, and I've said this 1,700 times this year, let's build on this performance and start making that momentum ours. Because we know once we're on it, my goodness, we're unplayable. Once everybody's on it, once we go from front to back, we are unplayable. So, boys, well done tonight. Believe it tonight, but know that it hasn't stopped. Know that this is the point in time. This is the time that the ship turned against the tide and started going in the direction that it wanted to go into. So come on, boys. You know, keep rowing, keep going in the right direction. We've got a lot of work to do. 3-1 Tottenham.
Love it. Well, what a good way to end. Rick, thanks so much for coming back on the podcast. Where can people find you and what you're up to at the moment?
You guys know where you can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter. You can find me at Ricky J Norwood, and that's normally Tottenham stuff and football related. On Instagram, you can find me at official Ricky Norwood. That's without the J. That's down here. And you can find out what I'm up to at work and stuff like that. So 9th of May at AFC Wimbledon, where I'm hosting a night with Danny Dyer for the Paul Strank Charitable Trust, which is a fantastic trust that gives money to basically a lot of kids in need. So we're doing a night with Danny Dyer. I'm hosting that. There's going to be lots of faces in the audience. That I don't even know whether I can say. I was in a meeting today, and she told me 2 people that are going to be there. All right. So I'll give you a hint. Right, I'll give you a hint as much as I can, just in case I get caught. All right. So it's Danny Dyer. Think Danny Dyer. Right. West Ham related. Right. Football manager that also managed Tottenham. I'll leave it there. Shush. I didn't say nothing. Then also Danny Dyer. West Ham related. Right, West Ham related, actor, yeah, but Hollywood everywhere, been about for a minute, does a Cockney, you know what I mean, gangster, plays, you know, he's done a lot, you know what I mean, you know, some say, you know, he hung about with scum at the time, but I don't know whether you understand that reference, but yeah, so there's a lot of people that are going to be there on the night. It's a fantastic charity. Danny, of course, I worked with him in EastEnders, and he's a dynamite guy, but we're both East London. So the first thing that happened, it wasn't even about the acting world. It wasn't about EastEnders. It was about East London for me and Danny. So I can't wait to see him again. I can't wait to host that night and asking him questions and have a fantastic night and raise loads of money for charity. For those that want to know, it's on my Instagram page, official Ricky Norwood. I think there are, from what she said today, I think there are 3 tables left. So have a look if you're interested. And then I can't say too much about this. I'm not allowed, right? I don't know what I'm allowed to say. They haven't. I literally said, because it's been announced this week, but I literally said, what am I allowed to say? And they haven't told me yet, right? Because I want to tell you all. But I've been casting a new movie. What I can tell you is that it's a gritty, real. I say real, but it's a gritty, dark take on the what is it called again?
Aladdin.
Yeah,
Aladdin.
Yeah, Aladdin. But what is it called? Arabian Nights. That's what it is, right? So Arabian Nights. So Aladdin. It's a horror flick. I've never done a horror before, so it's just been announced. It's called Aladdin, the Monkey's Paw. It's a horror flick. It's going to be shooting at the end of May, and yeah, it's a really exciting project. Never done it before, so I can't wait to jump on with them. It's a great team. A lot of the same team that I done the Christmas movie when I shot it over Christmas time. It's a lot of the same team over there. So we're doing this together. I can't wait to be working with them. So just keep checking out the Instagram if you want to know about that. I'll put updates on, and I'll start saying things that I'm allowed to say when I'm allowed to say them. But yeah,
Nice one.
Super great week. Yeah, and for all those as well out there that have been on Lent, which some Christians and Catholics out there that have been on Lent for the last 40 days and 40 nights. So have I. Well done to you. Praise you. I know that you're going to be hitting Good Friday. Make sure you don't eat meat on Good Friday. And I know that you'll be eating your chocolate Easter eggs on Easter Sunday as well. So well done to all of you. I gave up crisp chocolate, sweets, and alcohol. And that's why I'm so happy that not only did we win, but I could drink with a smile on my face tonight. So
Very good. Love it, Rick. Love it.
Happy Easter. Come on, you Spurs. Thank you. It's been a great evening. It's been the first time in a long time that I've really enjoyed tonight, even the glitching. So thank you, guys. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Dustin. Thank you, Craig. And thank you, every single person around the world that has commented and listened and shared and liked and subscribed. Love you, man. You know I've been drinking when I say I love you. But yes, love you, man.
Excellent. Excellent. Great to be back with a win, Rick. Absolutely. Carl, where can people find you?
Well, I was just sat here wondering how Ricky lost his job at MI5. Those events with, you might as well have said it rhymes with Barry Shedrap and Jay Flintstone, but that's up to you. As soon as you say, I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say, a producer somewhere sweats. That's probably what happens. But, so no, I enjoyed that. I've got a football podcast that's rested a little bit called When Football Began Again. It's about the Premier League era. Some great guests on there. I've had Clive Tildesley on there. I had Charlie Edinburgh on there as well, actually talking all about his dad Justin and the fantastic work that he's done in his dad's name. That and lots of other things. Lots of comedians on there. Josh Pugh, an amazing comedian, was on the show. So When Football Began Again, if you like your retro football that's not just Spurs related. We've not always had plenty to cheer, have we, in the Premier League era. I wrote a book as well about Tottenham Hotspur a few seasons ago about our amazing fan base all around the world. People like Dustin. Dustin sadly wasn't featured in the book, although if I ever follow it up, I may be tapping him up. But people like Dustin, who just like probably watching this, are sat up all night watching Spurs and then get up and go to work, and just the amazing lengths that fans around the world go to. So it tells the story of the season of us going back, the Champions League season, Champions League final season in the end. That's called Being That Number. It's still available on Amazon for a tenner and in most countries. So if you want to relive that season and also find out about like fans from all around the world and how they came to support Tottenham, Being That Number book. But yeah, and then Carl Jones comedy. I might be gigging somewhere near you at some point, so I'll post about it on there quite regularly. So if you want to come see me do stand-up comedy, there we go.
Very
oh,
good.
and
Nice
can I just say, sorry, Craig, can I just say as well, I've noticed
Yep.
that the fly that started the show with you has covered more ground than Lucas Bergvall tonight. It
So
has just
annoying.
kept going past the camera.
Honestly, it's so annoying. Honestly, he's sitting on the screen at the moment. He's drew my head in. Going to get the wasp spray out or something. Yeah, I'll tell you what. You're talking about Clive Tilsley very quickly. I think he's one of the best commentators, and I know Darren Altman put a couple of things on, or shared a couple of stories on Instagram about him. Such a knowledgeable guy, and people don't realise how much these commentators actually prep for a game. It's simply incredible when you look at it. So go and have a look at that if you get a minute. Dustin, great to have you back on too. Where can people find you?
Well, I'm not an actor. I'm not a comedian. I haven't written a book. I'm not drunk either. But you can find me. Let me know. Come on, you Spurs.
Love it. Okay, well, Dustin, we better go because you've got to go to work, I'm guessing. And mind you, it's Good Friday, isn't it? Today, it's actually good.
It's Good Friday, so I've got to bring my daughter to go watch the Minecraft movie.
I wouldn't bother.
It's in about an hour.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll let you get off to that and enjoy that with your daughter. Everybody who's watching, 2,283 of you, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's now 10 to 1 in the morning here in England. Always appreciate everybody's support on this podcast, and just so good to be back talking about a Tottenham Hotspur win. We'll be back soon. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on.